Blog Talk Radio.
Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot, oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Here are your supernatural hosts, Patricia Baker and Becky Andreasen. Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls. I am your host, Patricia Baker, and I'm here by myself this evening because, unfortunately, my co-host, Becky Andreasen, was not feeling well this evening. She had to take a trip to the hospital, so our prayers are with you, Becky, and I'm asking everybody in the audience to please send good thoughts and good prayers to Becky that she is feeling better very, very soon. So anyways, I hope you're all doing well tonight. Everybody's listening. We've got a great show for you with a terrific guest. We're waiting for him to call in and join us. And in the meantime, I'm going to remind everybody, please sign up for our newsletter, which you can find at supernaturalgirls.com. And that way you can be in line for the book giveaways, and you can also receive all the information on the exciting things we're doing, the shows that are coming up, and the classes that we're offering. In fact, we just finished a class that was tremendous, and we learned a lot, and our people in the workshop learned a lot. It was just magnificent. So please feel free to contact us if you'd like to join our future classes, or if you would like an individual session with Becky and or me. So let's get to some supernatural news tonight. One of the stories that I found on the internet that was really kind of cool, and the pictures were tremendous, is about fairies. And it basically says, do you believe in fairies? Well, if you do, then you may be interested to hear that a lecturer at the Manchester Metropolitan University in England claims to have photographic proof that fairies actually exist. And John Hyatt, director of Manchester Institute for Research and Innovation in Art and Design at MMU, has taken a series of photographs which he says depict these miniature creatures. The photos were taken in the Rosendale Valley, Lancashire, over a period of 2 years. And the pictures have been posted, some of them, on the internet, and they're pretty extraordinary. They look like fairies. They've got arms, they've got legs, they've got little wings, and they're light beings. You can't see really features, but you can make out these little, it looks like humans flying around with wings, and they're tiny. In one of the pictures, it looks like there's a good-sized orb. But anyways, you can find this on Above Top Secret is carrying the story, and also the photographs, as well as beforeitsnews.com. So you can look those up if you are interested in fairies. They are remarkable, very remarkable photographs. So anyways, so here we are. I am waiting for my guest, and I think he has arrived, and I'm going to tell you all about him because he's extraordinary. We are so lucky to have Raymond Grace with us this evening, and he's a fabulous author and so much more. He's a healer, and he knows what he's doing. He is fantastic. He's the founder and president of Raymond Grace Foundation, a dowser, a lecturer. He's the author of 3 books, The Future is Yours, Techniques That Work for Me, and Seasons of April. He has created 40 DVDs sharing information learned over the past 40 years and his books have all been printed in both English and Chinese. His work is being used in several countries for improving water and for self-improvement. So this guy, we're lucky to have him on the show tonight. So let me bring him on live. Raymond, welcome to Supernatural Girls.
Thank you so much, Patricia.
Well, it's so exciting to have you here. I have to tell you, your book was tremendous. And the name of the book for our audience is The Future is Yours, True Stories about Dowsing, Spontaneous Healing, Ghost Busting, and the Incredible Power of the Mind. It is available on Amazon.com. So tell me, Raymond, how did you get into all of this?
Well, I guess I was just born strange, maybe, a long time ago. And I always thought of things that other people weren't thinking about, and I spent a lot of time alone. I did not really have any school activities or anything back then, so I spent a lot of time in the woods. I spent a long time on the creek banks, river banks, and just a lot of alone time. And I still do. I live way back in the woods, and I psych myself up and go out and make talks and various things across the country. But I'm kind of a hermit, really, when I'm not out in front of people.
Well, I can relate to that. I think it's wonderful.
Something had happened when I was about 16 years old, and I was in algebra class. Now, I didn't really learn anything about algebra, but I learned something one day that probably changed my life. But the teacher never had a clue that she had planted a seed in my head. And she made a statement that, according to what she had read, that Einstein used only 10, 15% of his brain. So I'm thinking, well, I wonder what he could have done if he could have used 25% of it.
Right.
So that day at 16, I set out on a quest, not really realizing I had done it at the time, but to see what the human mind could do. And I never had any formal education in it at all. I just first started out reading anything I could find that was strange, unusual, because all that stuff interested me. I would listen to some of the older people in the community talk and tell ghost stories. That always interested me. But just the things that other people didn't know much about was what interested me.
Right.
And then I learned a little bit more about how to use the mind, and I've been experimenting with it for 40 years now.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, your book was amazing, and I couldn't put it down. It was great. I highly recommend it to all our listeners. And I did want to read a quote that you have in your book from Chief Two Trees. I think it's wonderful, and it'll set the tone for this whole next couple of hours. And it says, people have given their health to their doctor, their money to their banker, their soul to their preacher or priest, their children to the school system, and in so doing have lost the power to control their lives. Truer words were never spoken. It's a great quote that you put in your book. It's really true.
Yeah, it is. Chief and I were pretty good buddies, and I remember he said that. I think I added on the kids to the school system, but the rest of it belonged to him. And that got me to thinking. And then I started out on a little project here a few years back of wondering how much do I believe because it makes sense, and I've studied it and I agree with it, and how much do I believe because everybody in the community where I grew up believed it. And you know what I found out? I was believing other people's stuff.
Uh-huh. So how much freedom is in that, right?
Well, not much.
Right.
I started changing my way of thinking on various things, and I'm always looking at how can we improve life. I do not believe life was intended to be a struggle, even though it is for most people, or at least for many people.
It is for many people, yes.
Yeah, and I just think, we can do better than this. So I'm always looking for ways to make life better, whether it's cleaning up the water or whether it's educating people on how to think more positively and focus on what they want. I've always got some kind of project going to see what we can learn. And not everything that we do works, but a lot of it does.
Well, your stories are remarkable. The things that you've experienced with people in terms of their healing and also just in changing the energy of situations. I mean, that was some of the things that you recount in the book are just amazing. Some of the things where there were difficult situations in offices and you were able to affect the energy there. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that's just so fascinating.
Well, let me just give you the three principles of my work. Number one is all things, and that includes future events, it includes thoughts, but all things are composed of energy, and the intelligent human mind can direct energy. Principle number two is energy is impressed upon matter. Well, thoughts and actions are energy. The earth and our physical bodies are matter. So any time that a person has an argument in the house where he lives, that creates an energetic imprint upon the furniture, upon the house, and the environment. Every car wreck on the road creates an energetic imprint. This can work either good or bad. So we are affected by everywhere we've been, people we have associated with, and events in our lives. So as these things stay with us, they don't just disappear with age, seems like. They just seem to stay around. The energetic imprints can stay on the earth for thousands of years. That's why there's usually a kind of a low energy or a sad energy at battlefields. Why? Because people suffered and died there.
So those things don't fade away. They stay there, and they continue to have that impression, and they continue to send out a frequency. Yes,
they do. And it affects humans because energy is impressed upon matter, and the human body is matter. So if you put yourself in a low-energy environment, you will be affected by it. And principle number three is, I got it from Einstein, is energy follows thought. Wherever we put our thoughts, we put our energy. And wherever we put our energy is likely what we're going to make happen. People ask me sometimes, should I worry about such a condition or circumstances? I said, you should never worry about anything, because when you do, you're feeding the problem.
Exactly. And that's a hard thing to stay away from sometimes. But what you're saying makes a lot of sense, Raymond. I mean, even when you talk about accidents leaving their imprint, I mean, certainly there are stretches of road that are known for accidents, and it kind of begs the question, is that because so many, there was one accident there, it left a big trauma, a big mark energetically, and then it attracted similar types of energy that, again, created more accidents?
Well, in a word, yes, but there's more than that. So if you're ready to get wild with this, I'll tell you some more stories.
Yep. Let's get wild.
Good. All right. About, I'd say 8 years ago maybe, there was a lady that was a radio talk show host in my class in Virginia, and she lived in Washington, D.C., and she just mentioned in class, because I was asking them if anybody had any areas they would like to clean up. I just do that as a part of the class. And she said, well, there was an intersection within sight of her house. She had lived there for 10 years, and there was an average of 2 really bad wrecks every week there. And this has gone on for 10 years. And she said, everybody in the neighborhood knows it, but they don't know why. And I said, I know why. I said, let me see what I can do. And a year later, I'm on her show, and she tells the listening audience, there's been 2 fender benders in the last year.
Wow, that's a big difference.
They'd been averaging 2 a week for the 10 years she'd been there, and I don't know how long before that.
So you were able to clear this enough to bring the incidence of accidents down tremendously.
To my knowledge, we have lowered the accident rate on every stretch of road we've ever worked on.
And how do you do that?
I don't think we've ever had a failure.
That's amazing. Now, what's your protocol? I've watched your videos, so I'm aware of what you do, but tell our audience, how do you clear a stretch of road? I mean, how do you clear this energy?
Well, let me, let's see, there's different ways, because there's different reasons. Now, what happened, and this was unusual up there in D.C. at that intersection. It was very unusual. But there were some demonic forces there.
Oh,
and
boy.
I can usually check out a stretch of road. In class, I just have the people raise their hand. Now, you folks got a dangerous intersection or a curve, anything near your house where you're at risk of driving by, I'd like to do you a favor today, so let's clean things up for you. And
right.
as they give me a description of where the place is now, description might be just a highway number, 3 mile out of town or something like that. I don't really need coordinates or anything. And I check out the spots. Now, not all of these places are possessed. I very, very seldom find any of what I call demonic forces. Occasionally, but it is rare. I find an awfully lot of them, though, that have negative entities there, and I am convinced that these things cause wrecks. Now, the reason I'm convinced of that, you get rid of them in a wreck stop. I mean, that's just plain old barnyard logic. Get rid of the problem, and it just nothing else happens.
Exactly.
And then some of them are just what you mentioned. A number of wrecks over the years seem to create an energy that causes more.
Uh-huh.
And all three of these things we encounter from time to time. And I would say, I'm guessing, about half of them are where we have negative entities involved, and the other half is probably just because of what I call negative energetic patterns. I've created a name for most of this kind of stuff. And you can usually check and find out, are these just fender benders, or are they really serious where a lot of people get killed? And with a fair degree of accuracy, I can take any spot on the road and pretty much tell what kind of accidents they're having.
Now, let me ask you, because you said this stretch of road in D.C. was a little unusual and that you did find some demonic entities involved. And now, what were they doing there? I mean, just there to cause trouble?
Well,
or?
I don't know that I can answer that question and tell you that I know what I'm talking about. So when I'm guessing, I'll tell you I'm guessing. But those things are never up to any good.
That's
now, if you ask me who they are, where they come from, and so on, I can't answer that because I don't know. I do believe they come from another dimension. But when I use the term dimension, I'm already over my head. I do not find many of them. The only place you find demonic forces, for the most part, are in maximum security prisons and psychiatric wards. I find some there, or anywhere that there has been a sacrifice done, especially a human sacrifice, any kind of demonic worship. Now, you'll find some of the critters around places like that. But we find that from time to time. People that come to class, they have a lot of problems, really, or maybe they live in a problem area, and they haven't had anybody else to talk about this to, so they always pick me. And we've had pretty decent success at cleaning up places like that.
So when you clean up a place like that, you find demonic energy, what do? I mean, do you send them back to where they came from?
Well, this is real simple. It's as simple, if you bat your eyes, you're going to miss it. Actually, I just turn the demons into love. I mean, it makes me sound like a flower child, but it works. I mean, it's tore my hitman reputation all to hell by doing it that way, but it still works.
Well, that's great. So you change them into a loving force instead of an evil, dark force.
And it goes back to principle number one. All things, including demons, are composed of energy, and the intelligent human mind, meaning us, has the ability to transform energy.
Right. Well, that's
it's simpler than most people think it is.
Well, this is what I loved about your book, because you do make it simple. You make it very understandable, and you make it easy for people to not only understand what you're talking about here, but you make it easy for people to do this for themselves and their family and their friends. So,
well, I have to make things simple. Watermelon's the biggest word I know.
Well, that's great. That's great. I mean, this is what people need. People, again, need to know there's a way to make things better in their lives, and they don't have to give their power away. They can go for their own freedom. And your videos are wonderful, too, because you have a lot of very clear instruction on your videos, and this is all a part of your foundation work, I should mention. So there's lots of ways that you're disseminating this information, from your book to your videos to your talks. you're really getting all of the word out in many different ways. It's tremendous, and I applaud you for doing it. There's a lot here for people to learn from you. Now, we talk about clearing a home or negative energy. Also, is done the same way. So you talk about a stretch of road. Now you're talking about, actually, it's out a question from the chat room. Somebody wants to know, can you do the same thing with a home if there's negative energy there?
Matter of fact, I do it about every day. Matter of fact, this afternoon it was cleaning up a doctor's office.
Oh, my.
So I work with a real estate agency. They're my best client, really. I clean up their houses for them so they sell faster.
Oh, my. Well, I bet you're in big demand down there. Where you live.
Yes, and I have never done any advertising. Yes, I have 3 websites. I have one for the let's give the folks our websites. My name is spelled Raymon. There's no D on it. RaymondGrace.us is a commercial website where films and books and so on are. And RaymondGraceProjects.com is an information site that has a fair amount of information on that. Matter of fact, if we have a free video there for helping people with whether it's autism, ADD, bipolar, whatever, to help them balance their brain. And it was just something we'd had success with, and I thought, well, let's just make a film. It's only about 7 minutes long. Let's just give it away so maybe people can get some help with it. And then we have the one called Raymond Grace Foundation that has the Blueprint for Freedom film on it. And that's the one I made to stop abuse on women and kids. So just go to that one, RaymondGraceFoundation.org, click on what we do, and Blueprint for Freedom will come up. And it was filmed in my backyard. We never use any kind of a fancy place to film. I do a lot of my filming outside. And it's just kind of blunt and to the point, but it seems to work pretty good.
Well, they're excellent videos. And here's my question, because I did watch them today. So when someone watches your video and you're actually clearing the energy and using your pendulum to do that, the person watching the video, they have the opportunity to experience that clearing for themselves, right?
Right.
So just
you
by
see,
watching.
We did something with films that I don't think has ever been done. I mean, maybe it has, but I'm not aware of it. And I'll tell you the story on that. Back in 2004, I believe it was, what's that been? Well, it's been 10 years ago. I was on Coast to Coast with George Norrie, and he kind of threw me a curve I wasn't looking for. He said, we've got over 5 million people out there listening tonight, and I wonder if you would be willing to clean up any water. If they would take a container of water and put it beside their radio, can you change the energy of that water? Well, I didn't know he was going to ask that. I'd never even thought about that before. And I said, well, let's give it a try. So during the station break, I went through the process mentally of cleaning up the water that people were putting beside their radios. And, of course, I didn't know who or where they were. And then after we come back on, I talked a while, and after the next break, people started calling in that the water tasted different.
Oh, my
goodness. And they had drank some of the water, and some of them had aches and pains went away. Well, George and I have done this at least twice more, and each time we have had the same success with it. So I didn't know that could be done, but I didn't know that it couldn't. So I thought, well, let's try it, see what happens. So then I got to thinking, if we can change the energy of water when I don't even know where it is, over radio waves, why can't we do it with a film? So we were in the woods up in Canada back in 2004, I believe, about 3 months after that, and we didn't have very good equipment. We just had a little simple video camera, and I got a group of people together, and we made our first film there right out in the woods. And I made about 100 videos, I guess. I gave some away, sold enough to break even on them. And the intent was to see if we could create a film that if you set a container of water in front of your TV and played the video, if it would change the energy of the water. And it worked.
Oh, my goodness.
And
that's great.
We had one person call. He had a hot spring out in California that fed into a pool that had a lot of moss and algae in it. And I said, well, take that video and put you a glass of water in front of it and play it, and then you put the intent into the water, that one glass of water there, that you want to take the moss and algae out of your pool, and then go out there and pour it in. Well, about 4 days later, he calls. The moss is disappearing and all the algae disappearing out of his pool. Then he goes upstream and looks at the spring, which he said he had never been able to see more than 4 inches into it because it was just choked with algae. It was clear all the way to the bottom.
Oh, my goodness.
We all know that water runs downhill.
Right.
So why did the water he poured in his pool clear a spring that was upstream? Because I put a thought into that film that it would affect all water it touched, and that water would affect all water that it touched, and it would go upstream to all the tributaries.
Oh, my goodness. And it did.
It did. We had somebody in Vermont that poured some down a well that had, there'd been sulfur in the well as long as there'd been people there to smell and taste the sulfur. I guess it's been there forever. And within 2 days, the sulfur's gone. And this is not something I can predict and tell somebody exactly what will happen because I don't really know. It's what happens a lot of the times. But we have had people with a well that had sulfur in it, and they would attend class, and I would do the cleaning up of the water, and I would just say, well, now, if anybody here that has wells, we'll clean them up for you too. And by the time they get home, they don't have any sulfur in their well.
Gosh, that is
amazing. A lot of folks go home and say that they can't taste any chlorine in the water anymore.
Now, this is wonderful because water is a resource that we are losing on the planet today.
Well, that's why I got into this about somewhere around 30 years ago. I read that only 2% of the water on the planet is drinkable. And I think, well, every day there's people washing cars, filling swimming pools, and flushing toilets with it. And we're not making any more water. So every day we got more and more people using and polluting it without renewing it. And I'm thinking, if our kids are going to have decent water, somebody better do something. So I didn't know what I was going to do, but I volunteered for the job. And
well, you're doing a great job. Gosh.
And as of June, to my knowledge, we have reached 142 countries.
Oh my goodness! Well, and this is so needed. I mean, when you think about that, I mean, we could lose our water supply, and what's in the water supply these days is frightening. We're talking about medications, pharmaceuticals. Yeah. I mean, just a whole litany of things that don't belong there, and it's getting worse, not better. So to have this ability to clear water around the globe is so valuable. It's so important. And this is something you teach people how to do for themselves, right?
Well, actually, I've got a film that I teach that with, and the folks can use it. And we've got one fellow up in New York contacted me. He took the film and played it with the intent just to clean up all the water that ever came through his kitchen faucet. And he said he invites people in to see if they can taste chlorine. Nobody's ever been able to taste it.
Gosh.
Now, this does not work equally for everyone. I don't think anything except the law of gravity works equally for everybody.
Okay.
But it does work. It works for most people. That's about the only thing. So I like to be as honest as I can on this. I'm just tell what happened. Now, anybody wondering, well, have you had this tested? The answer is yes. Back in July, I believe it was, of 2002, I was traveling across Canada, and I was invited to stop at this place to spend the night. And when I got there, I kept wondering why they had invited us. And then when I got there, I found out they had a well that had a tremendous amount of arsenic in it. It was way higher than the accepted level. And they had run the water through the best filtering systems that could be had. And the man said, now we have a sealed cap on this. You really can't get to the water. You can't pour anything down in the water or anything. I said, well, that's okay. I don't know anything about arsenic, but let me go in here and talk to the water and see what I can do. Now, you have it tested whenever it's convenient and let me know what happens. About 2 months later, he calls very enthusiastically and says 90% of the arsenic's gone.
Fantastic.
I said, well, have it tested again one of these days and let me know. And about a year he had tested again. They could barely find a trace of arsenic. If this was tested by the whatever branch of the Canadian government it is that tests water.
Mm-hmm. So this is a bona fide test, and he had actual test results. Now, you said, I talked to the water. Tell our audience a little bit more about that. What did you say?
Well, okay, I can tell you, but I don't know if anybody's going to really get it. And so if you can ask another question about it, I don't mind explaining it, but a lot of stuff is so simple. All I did, I use a term I call scramble. And see, everything has a frequency. And the definition of frequency is the speed at which an element vibrates. And if we change the frequency, we change the element. So
right.
I scrambled the frequency of arsenic and adjusted it to the frequency of water.
So you did both. You scrambled the frequency of arsenic, and then you readjusted the frequency of pure water?
Well, no, I adjusted the frequency of arsenic and turned it into water.
Aha, okay.
Or at least that's what I think happened.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. It actually makes sense to me. So that's tremendous. I mean, because I know a lot of our audience, I mean, our people that listen to the show are very savvy, very intelligent people, and they've been involved with paranormal and supernatural things for a long time. So I know that our audience is going to understand exactly what you're talking about here, and they're going to want to know more. So,
well, we also had another water test done, or actually I didn't have it done, but the lady that I was working on the well did out in California, and I think it was nitrate, total dissolved solids, and I forget what all else it was in the water, that it just greatly decreased.
It did. Now, what about fluoride? Can fluoride be removed from water?
Well, I'm going to say I believe it can, but I don't have any proof that it can.
Okay.
But I have no doubt in my mind that, frankly, I think we can remove anything from water. See, when we see enough things happen over the years that most people would call miracles, you get to where you can believe in more stuff than you once did. So whenever we got the report about the arsenic disappearing, that was very encouraging. But what really means more to me than anything else is the people that are in class and go home to the well to get water out of the well, and they can no longer smell the sulfur.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't taste it. I mean, I just believe that more than I believe any kind of scientific test. Right.
Yeah. Why not?
And what I do in class, I have people bring a bottle of water, and I'll right at the last thing I do, at the end of the 2-day class, I'll say, now you take a drink of the water. And then I will then work on all the water in the room, taking out any harmful chemicals and chlorine, fluoride, any bad taste, anything like that. And then I'll have them tested again. I guess maybe 5 minutes will pass. And it's pretty regularly that they will say, yeah, the water tastes a whole lot better. Mm. And we've done this in restaurants before. Be sitting there talking to somebody, and wait till they take a drink of water, and then I'll change the energy of the water, and I say, okay, take another drink and tell me what it tastes like. And it just doesn't taste like the same water.
That's tremendous. And then does this also work for food?
Well, I believe it does, and I'll tell you why I believe that. I never believe anything until real sure of it until I see some physical results. Mm-hmm. But we have had, I would say, literally hundreds of people coming to class that have some type of food allergy, whether it's chocolate or strawberries or onions or shellfish or whatever it is. And I always tell them, and unless it's something really deadly, I say, go out and have something to eat tonight. of whatever you've been allergic to, and if you survive, you can come back tomorrow. We haven't lost anybody yet.
That's good.
We have people that haven't had a chocolate bar in 15 or 20 years. Well, go get your chocolate bar and eat it, and they are amazed. So
again,
I would have to say, yeah,
it
works with food.
Right. So you don't recommend that anybody with a life-threatening reaction try
well,
this, but people that
I wouldn't recommend it, but they've done it and survived.
They've done it anyways.
Yeah, because we had a guy in class, it's been probably a good 10 years ago, maybe longer, and he was deadly allergic to fish. I mean, if he touched a fish, he would go into shock.
Oh, boy.
And it just so happened that day that they were having fried catfish at the dining hall. And I told him, and then I said, now, you be careful, because as I'm not going to tell you to eat any fish, because if I can't help you, I sure don't want to hurt you. Right. So I don't know if you should take a chance on it or not. Well, he didn't eat a piece. He had a platter full.
Oh, my goodness.
And I ran into him 7 years later when I was making a talk right outside of Boulder. And I said, this is your story, you tell it. And he told the audience, he said, I've eaten fish ever since. He said, had no more reactions. And about 7 years, I think, had passed at that time.
Wow, that's great. Oh, my goodness. What a new sense of freedom in his life to be able to eat that.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. Oh, my. We've got a lot of questions lining up in the chat room, Raymond. We're going to take a very short commercial break. We'll be right back, everybody. If you've got a question, you can call in at 646-478-0828. Again, that is 646-478-0828. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Bonjour, this is Veronique Raskin, founder of the Organic Wine Company. As one of the pioneers of the organic wine movement, since 1980 I have brought you the very best and most authentic organic wines directly to your table. I work with small family estates who grow certified organic grapes and produce exceptional wines. You can purchase our wines individually from our website at theorganicwinecompany.com or join one of our wine clubs. Our organic wines are perfect for you and for your family as gifts for friends and relatives, and they are simply spectacular for the holidays. Visit us at theorganicwinecompany.com to enjoy the very best organic wines conveniently delivered to your door. I am Veronique Raskin, passionate about my mission. I offer to you vegan, organic, and biodynamic wines, wines made by people of the heart, wines with a heart. Au revoir. Call us at 1-888-ECO-WINE.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy Attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Available on Amazon.com.
Are you ready for a new experience of freedom and powerful connection? Would you like a positive, effortless change in your life? Then come to CosmicFusion.com, where we offer the most advanced energy clearing and expansion techniques in the world, with a quantum vortex energy to activate your divine blueprint and life's purpose. When your soul leads the way with cosmic fusion and quantum vortex energy, you can break clear of past difficulties and blocks with the power of the Source. With cosmic fusion, the Source energy does the work for you. It's easy and effortless. Listen to our free meditation right from our Cosmic Fusion website, the Cosmic Code Meditation. Sign up for one of our interactive webinars today. Come to Cosmic Fusion, www.kosmicfusion.com, to experience an effortless awakening and transformation. Are you ready for an upgrade? Are you ready for a new experience of living in the fifth dimensional magic and powerful connection? Then visit CosmicFusion.com today. CosmicFusion.com.
Welcome back, everyone. We are speaking with a tremendous guest, very fascinating, Raymond Grace. And Raymond is the author of several books, and the one we're talking about tonight is The Future is Yours. True stories about dowsing, spontaneous healing, ghost busting, and the incredible power of the mind. So, Raymond, here's another question from the chat room people. They want to know if you use a crystal pendulum.
No, I use a .45 caliber bullet on a chain.
I love it. That's great.
It gets a lot of attention in
that?
some of the finer eating establishments whenever you energize your water in your food.
Uh-huh. That's great. I know a lot of people are turning to crystals, but you find this one works best for you.
Well, you can use a nut on a string. It don't matter what you use. That's just a belief system some people have. I don't believe it myself. The real truth is you don't really need a pendulum, but it's good. All the pendulum does is tell you what you already intuitively know. You just don't believe you know it.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't believe in themselves, so if you got a pendulum and it'll move, I say, wow, look at that. That thing's smart. No, it's not. Smart's between your ears.
Right.
And I tell people, don't give your power to some object. Keep it yourself. Now, it's a good tool, just like a hammer's a pretty good tool for driving a nail. Well, a pendulum is a tool for getting information, and a lot of times you intuitively know this, but you think you just made it up. Mm-hmm. And if a pendulum moves, then without any muscular effort, the people have more of a tendency to believe the information then. But
right.
People ask me, why do you use bullets? Well, I just kind of like bullets, and we sell bullet pendulums. My kid makes them for me, and I sell them for her, and I find that people like them. I mean, heck, they buy quite a few of them.
That's great. Well,
just
like it's a tool.
Just don't try to get on an airplane with one.
No, they probably
they don't have any powder in them. They're not going to explode.
Mm-hmm.
But try telling that to the TSA people.
Oh, yeah. So when you travel, do you have another kind of pendulum that you bring?
I don't get on airplanes.
Okay, well, that solves that problem.
I refuse to be herded like sheep and cattle.
Uh-huh.
If I can't drive, I don't go. All
right. Well, that's probably not a bad idea, especially in light of recent things that have happened.
They found some real bullets in my backpack about 8 years ago, and after that little incident, I decided, I don't think I want to support this cause anymore. I think I'll just drive everywhere I go.
That's good. Well, again, you really are a supporter of freedom, and certainly that gives you more freedom when you can get in your car or your truck and drive where you need to go. I agree with that. So
yeah, I had a motto when I was 10 years old. It went like this: there is no substitute for freedom.
Yeah.
I still believe it.
I do too, and it's a wonderful motto to have. And you live what you believe. I mean, it sounds like your lifestyle really is what you believe, and that's what you stand for. And that's a wonderful lesson for everybody. It really is. Now, let me ask you, in your videos, I was fascinated by what you were doing with your pendulum in clearing the abuse energy. And can you talk a little bit about that? Because I saw that the pendulum was moving quite strongly in one direction or another. And can you talk a little bit about how you cleared that energy in the video?
Well, I'll be glad to do that. Let me tell you why I made the video. Back some years ago in a class, some lady said, put me in contact with a person over in Europe who was the CEO of a foundation that worked on people who had been tortured, and they wanted to expand it to human trafficking. Well, frankly, at the time, I didn't really know what the term human trafficking meant. Mm-hmm. I did not know that it meant slave trade. So the man calls me one day, and we have a conversation, and I kind of pick his brain, and I found that human trafficking was the third largest illegal operation on the planet.
Oh, my.
And I had heard of things like this, but of course I'd never had any contact with it and didn't really want to believe it existed, but I was interested in it, and I had no idea it went to the length that it does. Well, I have to be a bit discreet here, but I asked him, where is the worst place you know on the planet? And he gave me the name of a small country. And I said, well, I'll make a deal with you. I will work on that country, and all I will ask you for is feedback. You don't owe me anything. I want to know if it works. I want to know if it doesn't work. Well, I could tell he had trouble believing anything I was telling him. Mm-hmm. And I could understand that. That didn't really bother me. So I proceeded to do some work on that country and never heard from him again. But the person who put me in contact with him did call that she had talked with him, and the human trafficking in that country had dropped dramatically, and nobody seemed to know why. And
wow.
I got to thinking about it. You know, how I'm kind of paraphrasing the story here to disguise some things, but I got to thinking, you know, why don't we just make a film and give it away? I mean, yeah, we got hard copies if you want to buy them from the foundation site, but we just put it up on our foundation site, and it's free to anybody that wants to watch it. Not only that, you can send the link to it to somebody else, because it was just kind of our contribution to society, I guess. Because we had found things that worked. I had worked with women abuse centers before. I remember working one up in British Columbia several years ago, and there was a couple of women that would come in about once a month, just all bloody and bruised and where they'd been beat up. And the lady that run the center there told me about it. I wanted to know if I could offer any help. So what I did, I depossessed the people that lived with that were beating them up. The number one way to depower an evil person is to depossess them. So that's what I did. Now, I didn't need to know their
tell
name.
us more about that. What does that mean, depossess them?
Well, and let me get with the fifth story, and I'll back up and get full of details in.
Okay.
So I'm up there in British Columbia a year later. Neither of the women have been back to the shelter again. They didn't get beat up anymore.
That's great.
And then we cleaned up one out in Arkansas one time, and everything there just totally changed. So we knew this worked. So, okay, now to answer your question, my definition of being possessed is being under the influence of a negative entity. And my definition of negative entity, it is the spirit of a person who once lived in the flesh and blood body, just like we do, here on planet Earth. And they died, and the body was buried, burned, or disposed of, but the spirit is still here. And the spirit of these people can move into, generally it's the energy field, but sometimes they actually move into the physical body of a person. For example, every serial rapist and serial killer that I have ever worked with was possessed.
Oh, my.
And we've got a pretty darn good track record of getting them either caught or dead in a fairly short time, but depossessing them. And that's really how you take the power away from evil people.
So you depossess them through this work, and then what you found was these women were no longer threatened by these people, by these men.
No, they didn't get beat up anymore.
So they didn't. Okay. And is it because they were able to
We clean up schools, police departments, offices. I mean, it's just there's more of this stuff goes on than the average educated, civilized person wants to believe.
Well,
you see, the world
I agree with you.
See,
but there's don't you think that there's also just so much chaos in the air right now? It does seem like more people are radically affected or more sensitive, or something else seems to be an element in all of this.
Well, let's just get blunt. People are getting crazier.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I think I can tell you why.
Okay, let's hear it.
I started finding this about early last summer sometime. Been almost a year. I didn't really remember the date, but I started noticing it's what I call mental stability was getting much worse.
Okay.
So I had been checking mental stability on individuals for a while, and I started checking on the entire county and on various towns, wherever I would have a client, and mental stability was dropping like a rock. And I would talk to people, and I'd just ask a blunt question. You notice people are any crazier than they were 6 months ago? And the answer was yes. Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't know why. Now, I knew how to find it, and in most cases I knew how to correct it to a degree. Not totally clear it up, but at least help the client I was working with. And then I found that the scientists have made a report. Now, I don't know which scientist who or anything. This was just told to me, so I can't really verify this more than just word of mouth. But that the Earth was moving through space and in a position where people were being influenced by an energy coming from out of the Milky Way. Well, I didn't know anything like that, and I just thought, well, that must be what I've been measuring here for 6 or 8 months and didn't know what was causing it. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but that's what I think is happening.
So we're being affected by or bombarded with some energy that's coming from the Milky Way, affecting the people of the planet, and our mental stability is greatly being affected. It makes sense. Something's affecting it, that's for
Well,
sure.
See, I was finding the mental stability being affected before I had any clue as to what was causing it. And that's
right.
The only clue I do have that's causing it. There may be other factors I'm not aware of.
Mm-hmm. It's startling. I mean, the change that we seem to be watching, it's startling and it's scary because it does seem like it's becoming more pronounced exponentially.
Well, it is, but thinking, intelligent people using some of these methods can protect themselves.
That's
I try
great.
not to ever give somebody a problem unless I can give them a solution that goes with it.
So what kind of solution would you offer for this mental
I know this works.
stability?
I see it happen every day. I neutralize the negative effect of astrological influence upon them.
Really? Wow.
Yes, ma'am. I've never seen it fail.
And how do you do this?
I do it with my mind.
Your intent is so clear. It is so powerful, and it's totally on point. It seems that most people get distracted. They don't have the clarity that you offer. So
well, that's because they went to the wrong school and stayed way too long.
They went to school at all is the problem, don't you think?
They went to, because you see, when you live out in the woods and you live rather simple and don't know any real big words, it's easier to get things done.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's your connection with the energetic system, with animals, plants, people's psyches and consciousness. I mean, you're just like you're totally clear. Most of the people are not. So the techniques that you are offering at least can put people on the road to some semblance of clarity, right? Using the pendulum, having an intent, setting an intent, and then following the directions that you give people for clearing. Like you did a wonderful job on those videos, by the way. I thought they were great. But you talk a lot about bringing something to another place. Either you transform it to love or you transform it to 5D. Can you talk a little bit about that also?
Well, you can take any energy, I believe, and transform it into something better. You can take jealousy and transform it into, well, actually, I did it at a place a while back. I knew somebody was really jealous of me, and I was at a conference when I had my sales table set up along with several other vendors, and I knew there was somebody there that was just really jealous of me, and I could feel the energy coming at me. And I'm thinking, well, let's put this stuff to work. And I just pulled out my bullet pendulum and started working with it a little bit. And within about 15 minutes, there was people about 6 deep around my sales table buying everything I had. And the other vendor said, you must have a magic tablecloth on that thing or something to attract these people. No, what I did, I turned jealousy into prosperity.
Ah. So you can take a negative energy that's being thrown at you and turn it into something beneficial.
Sure you can.
How do you do that?
You do it with intent.
So you just recognize this is what's coming at me, and then you use your pendulum to determine that this is in fact the case, or how do you?
No, you don't even really have to use a pendulum. All it really takes is a intense thought. See, human minds have the potential to be very powerful, but humans have not been trained to use their mind. They've been trained to follow directions.
That's true.
See, from the day you went to school and the day you went to church, there was something you were taught. And you were taught it every day you were there, but nobody ever told you they were teaching it to you. And some probably didn't even realize it. Well, what you were taught was you have no power. You have to ask permission for everything that you do. Every time you ask permission, you give your power to someone else.
That is very true. I like what you just said.
One of the biggest problems I have with people that have been to my class or heard about me will write and ask if they can do something. Like they need me to give them permission. I'm not in the guru business. I'm in the self-empowerment business. The only way you're ever going to know if you can do something is to give it a try. That's how I did. I never asked anybody if I could change the energy of water. I never asked anybody if I could take arsenic out of it or take chlorine out of it or any other kind of chemicals. I just did it. And then when it worked, then I started telling people, hey, we can do this. I'll show you how. I didn't try to corner the market on it. I did my best to get it out to the world. But the problem with most people is they do not believe in themselves.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So any of you people out there listening, don't write and ask me if you can do something, because I'm going to tell you to try it and find out.
That's right. Save your ink, save your typing in your email. He's going to tell you, just try it, see if it works. Well, why not? I mean, again, your direct connection with the energy systems that surround all of us is quite remarkable. And what I also love about what you're doing is the generosity with which you offer it. You have so many free videos for people. You do lectures. You have lots of information on your websites. You are giving it away. And thank you.
Well, I do.
It's all good stuff.
You got to pay me for classes, and you got to buy the films and the books, DVDs. But we do put some free stuff out there, and then we put all the information we can possibly cram in, whatever we write or film. And I found that filming works better than writing. You can make the films a whole lot faster than you can write a book.
Yes. And like you said, when people watch your film, like the clearing abuse and human trafficking films that you have, I mean, you actually feel the effect of it. One other thing that you said in the films I watched today, the videos that were free on your website, you talked about removing the victim from the abuser is not going to solve the problem because that person's going to go out and just find another abuser. Can you talk a little bit about that? I thought that was a very valid point.
There are three things that I have found that cause people to be a victim. Now, can I draw a line and define each one of them? No, I can't. I kind of create names for various things, but sometimes I don't know how to describe them. One is what I call a spirit of victimization. See, everything has a spirit. You've probably got Christmas cards saying, "May the spirit of peace be with you."
Right.
Well, I figured if peace had a spirit, love would have a spirit. But then so would hate and anger and fear and grief and victimization. So if a person has a spirit of victimization on them, then they are going to find somebody to make them a victim. Another thing is what I call a victim mentality. Now, again, I can't define the two. And another thing is called a victim archetype. Now, my simple definition of archetype is a trait or characteristic that affects human behavior. So if we have any people out there listening in the counseling business, and you've got a client that's being beat up or victimized in any way, in my opinion, you're probably never going to have much success until you get it through their head they're not a victim. And that is, take away the victim archetype, and all this is a form of energy, the victim mentality, and the spirit of victimization. Because, see, if a person has these things and they believe they're a victim, they will find them an abuser. And now, a victim cannot exist unless they have an abuser.
Right.
Until the abuser comes along, they're not a victim. And an abuser cannot be an abuser unless he finds a victim. So you know what happens? They find each other.
Mhm. That's right.
So one of the best ways to stop abuse is to eliminate victims.
So when you change the energy, you transmute it in many different ways. But is this an energy you would scramble, or is it an energy you would simply transmute and bring to another level?
You can. I don't know if it really matters which term you use or not. I think it's just all intent. But now, let me say this: the cooperation of the person you're trying to help has got more to do with it than I do. Because
so
if they are
really
determined they're going to be a
change.
victim, all the king's horses and all the king's men is probably not going to stop them.
Mhm. And again, this could be conscious or unconscious. I mean, a lot of people don't really want to be victims consciously, but they have a strong unconscious pull in that direction.
Well, see, that's where doubting comes in so handy. You can find out what a person's subconscious beliefs are. Not only that, what I learned recently, actually Greg Braden said this several years back, and I carried the information around for a long time before I ever found out what to do with it. It wasn't that I didn't believe him, it's just that I didn't know the practical application. Mm-hmm. He made a statement that the heart is 5,000 times more powerful than the brain. Well, I thought this was interesting, but, what good is it? Well, right. I have another way of saying it. What I found was that each body part had its own specific belief system of which the brain is not aware. And by using dowsing, you can find out what the body really believes about something. I haven't actually taught but one simple class on this. This is fairly new information. I've been using it on the clients that I have, but I haven't really made a film on it. I'm not quite ready to do that. I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about before I put that information out on film. But I just wanted to throw that out. This
is really fascinating. So what you're saying is, like an organ system, for example, the liver can actually hold its own belief system that's contrary to.
Yeah, and what I find almost on a daily basis is bodies don't want to live. Matter of fact, I was working with a doctor a couple of hours ago who had a patient said, we're losing them, and we don't know what. They're just not responding. Well, I went through a list of stuff there real quick, made some corrections, and I said, I believe she's going to make it okay now. But her body simply did not want to live.
Well, that's interesting.
Well, it's an epidemic. I think I can say that and know what I'm talking about because I find, I would bet, I find at least 80% of the people I work with bodies have less than 100% desire to live. And I think that's a conservative figure.
Why is that?
I haven't quite figured that one out yet. It may be the stress under which people live. Now, that's an opinion on my part. But there's something seems to be happening to the human race, and it's not good. Mm-hmm. So let me throw out something here for whatever it's worth. Potentially, the human being has more energy now than maybe at any time in history. I have been measuring energy almost daily since '97. I don't know the exact figure on it, but the potential energy of a human has risen, I would guess, about 1,800%.
Wow, that's
during
a lot.
that time. It is a lot. And I can't say this for a fact because I haven't lived forever and been here to measure energy, but I'm guessing that that's the most rapid energetic increase in the human race in history. So potentially we have so much more energy now, but realistically it's dropped a lot. I mean, I can check a lot of areas. Matter of fact, I checked your place the other day and told you what was wrong with it up there. Did you notice any change?
I want to talk about that too. That was fascinating. But you see, I do think you're onto something major, and especially when you're talking about a high percentage of the bodies that we're walking around with that don't want to be here, that don't want to live. And I think you're right in your hypothesis that this is possibly because of the situation here on the planet. We're under assault on so many levels. Our environment is so poisoned it doesn't support us like it should because of what we've done, choices we've made.
Well, the water is poisoned, the air is polluted, the nutrition of the soil is gone, the food doesn't have near the nutrition in it that our grandparents had in their time. We're living almost in an artificial environment.
That's true. And it's an environment when I would imagine, on a cellular level, we are feeling a lot of stress. So I agree with you in the direction you're going with this. It's fascinating. And I do agree with you, too, that we have ways to change this. And we all have to kind of come together and also individually follow some of your direction with these wonderful and simple techniques that you're offering. So we can produce these changes in our water supply and raise the vibration of our food and also our consciousness so we stop poisoning our planet.
Well, there's just a lot of things we can do for ourselves, and I practice what I teach. But just to throw a hint out there to all you good folks listening tonight, I don't know how many of you folks know how to dowse, but the ones that do, just check this. To what degree does your body want to live? And you'll probably get a reading on the negative side.
Wow.
And you want to change it, then thank your body every day.
Well, that's an easy thing to do. So
it's all easy.
Yeah, so you actually just are grateful and say thank you. Thank you for carrying
I give thanks every morning for a strong, healthy body.
I like that.
It don't have to be any great, long-winded prayer with big words and all that. It's a simple, I give thanks for a strong, healthy body.
That's something we can all do easily.
Yeah. All this stuff is easier than people think it is.
Well, I agree with you, and I think you're right. We've all been taught to follow directions, ask for permission, get in line. It's not that way. If we want to live long, healthy lives, we've got to find another way to do it. And I love what you're offering because it's easy to do, it's simple, it's powerful, and this is what you're saying it's all about, is self-empowerment.
Mhm. Yep, that's what I call it. People say, "What do you do?" I said, "Well, I write books, make films, and talk to a few people every now and then that want to listen." Well, what do you talk about? Well, I sum it up in 2 words. I call it self-empowerment. Dowsing is simply a way to achieve this. It's not the only way. It's just a way that I found that worked real good. It's easy to teach, and it works.
Well, you've also had a very blessed life in that you have met some powerful Native American medicine men, Rolling Thunder being one of them.
That's correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Rolling Thunder was a turning point in my life. I actually wrote one chapter, I believe chapter 4 in that book, dedicated to him, just in appreciation of what I learned from him. And when I met him, he and I seemed to hit it off pretty good, and he invited me to come out to Nevada and live in his camp out there. And then he came home with me, and I sponsored him in a couple of seminars, and it was just it was a win-win situation. And people ask me, what did you learn from him? Well, I guess if I had to sum it up in one word, it would be respect for the earth. I had always tried to be respectful and thought I was, but I did learn things from him that I didn't really know about that much. And I watched him do healing ceremonies, and I think, well, if he can do it, maybe I could do some of it. So I started using some what I call Indian medicine, and it was just things that I had learned from him, and it worked. It worked real good. I'll give you an example. I had a neighbor that was had a lot of allergies. She was allergic to dog hair, horse hair, tomato vines, and especially chemical sprays like Lysol. And she worked in a nursing home, and she had to use some of those chemical sprays. And every time she did, her face would instantly break out in a rash.
Ooh,
and I said,
painful.
well, come on up at the house one evening about an hour before sunset. And I was just kind of learning how to do this back then. I didn't know too much about it. So I built up a little fire down here and had her stand by the fire, and I took a feather and I just reached out, and it was really just with the intent, making the sweeping motions down her body and taking out what I considered all of the things that caused the allergies. Now, did I really know what I was doing? No, not really. But when we got done, I called my dog over there, and I said, "Now, I want you to pet my dog and get the dog hair all over you here." And then I brought my horse in. I said, "Now, come here and hug the horse and get real close to him." And then I went to the garden and got some tomato vines and crushed them up and rubbed them all over her arms. And nothing had happened yet. And I had told her to bring a can of Lysol with her. And I said, spread it out in your hand, and now rub it on your face. Nothing happened.
Oh, my goodness.
Nothing ever happened after that.
That's incredible.
So,
my goodness. So she never had another allergic reaction to spraying Lysol or the tomato vines, dog or horse
No,
hair?
and I worked on, later on when she had two little kids, I worked on them. One of them had asthma, something awful. The little kid wasn't but about a month old. And I saw her one day, and she had the little boy with her, and I said, well, bring him over here now. Let me put my hands up around his chest here. And as far as I know, all the allergy disappeared.
That's great.
Now,
so
but so much of this, it's just the intent.
Yeah, it is, and you talk about that, and you use that word a lot. And what's the difference, though? I mean, you obviously have something going on here that we need to learn a little bit more about, because your intent, it moves the energy. It gives it focus. It makes it happen. And, look, I know I've worked with a lot of people, and they want their lives to be different, and they do their visualizations, and they, try to get rid of past programming, and they end up in the same spot they started. So what is it that's different about your intent that makes these things happen?
Well, probably because I don't know it can't be done.
Okay.
I don't seem to have limiting beliefs that most people do.
Ah, all right. So you don't have the limitations that the rest of us have gotten stuck with.
No, like I say, y'all went to the wrong school and stayed too long.
You did.
I didn't learn it couldn't be done. See, I went to the Virginia Department of Environmental Quality and offered my help free of charge to help clean up water. And I told them the story about the well up there in Canada that we had a water test done by the Canadian government that the arsenic disappeared. And he leaned back in his chair and crossed his arms and says, I don't believe any of this because I went to school a long time and I know that taking arsenic out of water is impossible.
Oh,
and
wow.
I says, well, you spent a lot of money in a few years of your life to learn what you couldn't do. I saved the money, never went to school and did it. Which one of us better off?
That's so true. I love it. That's great. That's great. Yes. Yeah, good point. And I bet he didn't have an answer to that one.
No, I just figured that I'm wasting my time here. I wished him a good day and just left.
Oh, goodness. Well, let me change the subject over to curses, because that's something you said you found on my land. We were talking about the land here, and you said, let me check and see what you have, and you found curses, and you asked where they were from, and you said they weren't from Native Americans. They were from white people. Mm-hmm. So you then cleared the land, and I can tell you I felt an amazing shift in the energy, and it was immediate. It
well,
was
I certainly hope so.
Immediate. Yeah, it was incredible.
Well, that was
like,
the plan.
Well, it worked. I mean, I could feel it. It was like all of a sudden it all lifted. So talk to us about curses and how that happens.
I'll tell you a few stories about them. One that comes to mind right off happened about 3 or 4 years ago, and I get a call from some lady. I didn't know who she was, up in Central Virginia, and said she had a horse farm, and she had a lot of trouble there because the horses wouldn't go into the riding ring, and she didn't know why. And she said, and the grass won't grow here. And this farm has been sold 5 times in the last 10 years. She said, it seems no one can stay here. And I checked it out, and I said, yeah, you've got one horse there that's a real problem, don't you? She says, I have a horse that I bought for a quarter. She said, it's a $10,000 horse. I paid a quarter for it. She said, I got a bill of sale to prove it. I said, that man wanted to get rid of that horse. She said he hated that horse. I said, well, that's probably why the horse got 20 curses on it. But what I found was, and this was very rare, I found there was an energy vortex on the land, and I reprogrammed the vortex. Now, can I explain that? No, not really. Do I know what it was? No, not really. I just found it, and I thought, well, this is not helping any, so I reprogrammed it to produce a better quality energy and broke the curses on the horse, and then I did a little bit more simple energy balancing on the land as far as getting rid of any negative, what I call negative energetic patterns, things that happened there in the past. And about 3 or 4 months later, I'm doing a class in Richmond, Virginia, and she's in class, and she tells everybody, my farm has the best grass of any farm in the county.
Oh, my.
The previous owners come there and don't want to leave. They can't believe it's the same place. And that $10,000 horse I bought for a quarter turned out to be the best horse I've ever owned.
Oh, my goodness. What
so that's just some of the
shame.
things that can happen. Also, several years back, I got a call one night from a fellow, and I didn't know him. Of course, I get a lot of contact from people I don't know. And he was from Tucson, Arizona, and he said, I have a property here south of Tucson out in the desert, and I have the best dowsers in America telling me where to drill wells, and I have drilled 10 wells and hit nothing but rocks and dirt. They're all dry. He said, this is expensive.
It is.
Yeah, I imagine it is.
Yeah.
And asked him who was working for him, and I said, well, those fellows probably forgot more than I know about finding water, but there's something they missed. They missed those old Spanish curses on that land.
Uh-oh.
And I found 10 curses on the land, broke the curses. I said, go drill you a well. He hit water.
Oh, my goodness. So a curse can actually prevent you from finding water on your land.
Oh, yeah. Well, whatever affects the land affects the water.
Right. Now, when you talk about this, and please explain to our audience, how does this happen? I mean, you talk about curses being placed on my land, for example. How does that happen?
All a curse is an intensified negative thought form.
Okay.
Now, they may have used, I don't know exactly how they did it. I found some more of those old Spanish priests put a bunch of curses on the land. I don't know why they did it unless it was because they hated the Indians, maybe. I don't really know exactly. Maybe somebody out there knows. But I found a bunch of them on a ranch right outside of Santa Fe. And this lady said all the trees on the ranch, or a lot of trees were dying. She said, we're just losing a lot of trees here. Said, the crops really aren't doing much good, and the flowers won't even bloom. And said, all the neighbors just don't get along. They kind of fight among themselves. And I found 10 old Spanish curses on that land and broke them, and never thought much more about it. And I was out in Santa Fe a little bit later, and the lady happened to be in the audience. And she stood up and told everybody, said, we have not lost another tree. The flowers are blooming, the crops are doing good, and neighbors get along now.
Wow. Incredible.
The curses are far more common than most people would believe. And to exactly what caused them, I don't really know. Maybe a number of things could have, and well, probably was a variety of things. But why those were put on there, like that might have been 400 years ago, I just simply don't know. But I knew how to break them.
Yes, and you knew how to find them. And here's another question from our chat room. They want to know, how did you know the curses were there?
Well, I ask. I have a long list of things I look for.
Okay.
And but it was kind of obvious, really. The first thing you look for when people got problems is a place haunted. Do you have a bunch of troublesome spooks there? Next question is, do you have any curses on the land? Any negative thought forms? Any negative energetic patterns? That means, like, did a lot of bad stuff happen? Did they have a lynching there at some point and hang some people or something? All that kind of stuff. That can really mess the land up.
Mm-hmm.
And it don't ever go away until we take it away and turn it into something else.
Right. You pick up that thought form and transform it. Now, people must really be cursed too at times. It's possible to curse a person.
There's a lot of people curse themselves.
Yeah. How do they do that?
Well, it's real simple. I say this in every class. I've never said it on the air before, but you give me a good opportunity. How many times have you people ever got really, really mad, and you clenched your fist and you pounded the table and said, well, I'll be damned? You just put a curse on yourself, people.
Uh-oh. Wow.
Your head listens while your mouth is talking.
Wow, we better be careful about that. That's really important information.
Well, I thought so.
Yeah.
Because I'll check out the people in class, and I find out that most of them put curses on themselves. They're not excessively strong, but they're still there. I mean, these things come in with degrees of strength, and I'll give you another story.
Okay.
Back several years ago, about 10 years at least, I guess, I was doing a class in North Carolina, and this nice lady was there, and we were sitting there talking during lunchtime, and she had a badly swollen knee. And she said 4 generations of my family has had bad right knees, and all of the 4 generations of them. And she said, we must have a defective gene. I said, no, ma'am, what you have is 4 family curses. Ooh. She said, do you know what to do about it? I said, well, I think so. I said, let me know. I get a phone call from her 2 days later. The pain in the knee is gone. The swelling's gone down. She's never been able to climb steps normally. She'd have to step up with the left foot and drag the right one. She was walking up the steps without any trouble, and she was standing on a ladder working that day, and she'd never been able to do.
Oops. Did we lose you?
No, you didn't lose me. Somebody's calling in.
Oh, okay, good. Good. I'm glad we didn't lose you.
That's another one. It'll be all right now.
Okay, thank you. So she was able to walk normally after you removed the curses.
Oh, yeah. Not only that, she said some of the younger family members started getting better, too.
See, now it's going to be my next question. I wanted to know, when there's a curse on one person, maybe back 200 years ago, can it be carried forth through the generations? And it sounds like
yes, it can.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I don't know how many generations. If I were guessing, I'd guess 7, but I don't know that for a fact.
Wow. So when you clear someone, you can actually clear not just that person, but you can clear the whole genetic line.
I'm going to be cautious and say sometimes, because there may be a lot of things I'm just not aware of.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't want to make anybody a promise on that. But we did that time, even though I didn't know at the time it was possible. Right.
Right. I mean, it would make sense, again, if you're talking to that energy construct, and it has that kind of far-reaching effect that when you clear it, it's cleared everywhere.
Well, that seems to be. But we're all the product of our ancestors. We got the color of our eyes, hair, skin, body type. We got a lot of their attitudes, a lot of the ways they think. And I found out, or at least I believe it's possible, to change this. The way I say it is, we are the product of our ancestors, and most of us needed better ancestors. Well, it's all a form of energy, and I think we have the ability to change that too.
Well, I agree with you. And when we're going to take a short commercial break again and come back, and maybe we can go through some of the questions that you ask. I see the list here is in the book too. But when you go to clear a person, some of the things that you start with when you're working with someone. So everybody, stay tuned. This is a great show with Raymond Grace, and he is the author of The Future Is Yours: True Stories about Dowsing, Spontaneous Healing, Ghost Busting, and the Incredible Power of the Mind. If you have a question, call in at 646-478-0828. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for a new experience of freedom and powerful connection? Would you like a positive, effortless change in your life? Then come to CosmicFusion.com, where we offer the most advanced energy clearing and expansion techniques in the world, with a quantum vortex energy to activate your divine blueprint and life's purpose. When your soul leads the way with cosmic fusion and quantum vortex energy, you can break clear of past difficulties and blocks with the power of the source. With Cosmic Fusion, the source energy does the work for you. It's easy and effortless. Listen to our free meditation right from our Cosmic Fusion website, the Cosmic Code Meditation. Sign up for one of our interactive webinars today. Come to Cosmic Fusion, www.KOSMICfusion.com, to experience an effortless awakening and transformation. Are you ready for an upgrade? Are you ready for a new experience of living in the fifth dimensional magic and powerful connection? Then visit CosmicFusion.com today. CosmicFusion.com.
Bonjour, this is Veronique Raskin, founder of the Organic Wine Company. As one of the pioneers of the Organic Wine movement, since 1980, I have brought you the very best and most authentic organic wines directly to your table. I work with small family estates who grow certified organic grapes and produce exceptional wines. You can purchase our wines individually from our website at theorganicwinecompany.com or join one of our wine clubs. Our organic wines are perfect for you and for your family as gifts for friends and relatives, and they are simply spectacular for the holidays. Visit us at theorganicwinecompany.com to enjoy the very best organic wines conveniently delivered to your door. I am Veronique Raskin, passionate about my mission. I offer to you vegan, organic, and biodynamic wines, wines made by people of the heart, wines with a heart. Au revoir. Call us at 1-888-ECO-WINE.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Available on Amazon.com.
speaking because I'm by myself tonight. Becky, I hope you're feeling better. I'm speaking with Raymond Grace, who is the author of The Future is Yours, True Stories about Dowsing, Spontaneous Healing, Ghost Busting, and the Incredible Power of the Mind. So, Raymond, you have in your book wonderful personal stories and also just some questions. So when people are using their pendulum, they can start out by asking simple questions like, are there any negative entities in the house or property? And then you ask how many. So you have a list that's very kind of logical about how you go about clearing this kind of energy.
Well, yeah, you always take care of the worst things first. I remember I have a rather extensive list. It's probably got 50 items on it, so I wouldn't try to cover all that kind of stuff tonight. But I remember in one class when I passed out the handouts, some lady looked at it and said, "These seem to be in some kind of order." I said, "Yes, ma'am, I hope so, because it does very little good to balance the chakras of a demonically possessed person." So you start out with the worst things, then kind of work on down to the little stuff. You start out with a bulldozer and work your way down to a whisk broom. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So you don't find negative entities everywhere, and a lot of people will take the class from me, and it's all new information, and they're sure their mother-in-law is possessed, and but most of the time she isn't. So they go out. Too many people go out and find spooks hiding behind every bush, when in reality they're not really there. So if you get into this stuff, folks, you read my books, watch my films, this kind of stuff. Don't think that these spooks all around you all the time. Yeah, they are out there, but they're not everywhere. So
and
just
they
don't
might
get
not be
carried away
causing
with
a problem, right? They might not be the problem.
No, it may not be the problem at all.
Yeah. But some of these questions are very interesting. What is the energy level on this property? And that's measured, you say, in increments of 1,000?
Yes, ma'am. That's the first question I always ask, is what is the energy level? Because that tells me if they've got an inconvenience or if they got a serious problem. And now that the scale on which I measure the energy is the same, but the amount of energy has changed. Now, if you ask me what scale I'm measuring on, I honestly don't know. I've had some scientists in the class, and I show them what I'm doing, and they'll nod their head and say, "Yeah, you're making a lot of sense," but we don't know what scale it is either.
Oh my!
So it's just one that that we use to tell is the energy either high or low or medium or whatever. And in every class that I do, I measure the average energy of the class. And it's just something I always check out. Now, you can measure the energy of a human, an animal, or a piece of property, or a building. Most schools have notoriously low energy.
I am not surprised to hear that. Yeah.
Actually, some schools in the inner cities are about as bad as prisons.
Ooh, that's not good. And you were saying Boston's energy is very, very low.
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, I did a class in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and the energy was the lowest of any class that I've ever done in North America or anywhere.
And that was in New Hampshire.
Yeah, but what happened, we had a lot of people out of Boston in the class.
Oh, gosh.
Now, I'm not trying to put people in Boston down, so if you're listening and you're from Boston, don't take offense. It's not intended that way. It's just the fact is you folks got an energetic problem up there. It's not of your making. It's not your fault. As of December of 2012, I started noticing, mostly starting up the East Coast and also up the coast of California, it was almost like a wave that was sweeping through, and it was literally sucking the energy out of people, and it still is. And this energy moves. Now, I'm no authority on it. I know how to find it, and I know how to neutralize the effect of it upon people. Now, the reason I can say that is because we get results. I'll be talking to a client that I don't even know, and I'll say, let me do something for you right here. And whenever I neutralize the effect of that energy upon them, the majority of them will say, wow, I felt that. Now, some people, you just can't feel any energy at all, and some are very energy sensitive. Now, if you folks out there listening want to learn any more about it, go to my website and look up my archive newsletters it would have been in September, I believe it was, of 2013, and I wrote a little bit about this and showed you what to do about it. So,
now,
and
you
anybody
have a name
wants to,
for this? Didn't you call it the
well,
X
we
like
created a name for it. We call it X energy because, frankly, we don't know what it is.
But
I don't know where it comes
the life
from.
Out of people. Oh, boy.
But I know, it will suck the energy down to below 200. Okay, let me give you an example. My average energy of the classes I teach will run 20 to 22,000 on a scale. Well, I was doing a class right outside of Austin back about a year ago, and the energy there was 6,000. And I'm thinking, what's going on? Because I always like to work down in that part of the country, and the people were nice, and I couldn't figure out why we had such low energy. And I found out a lot of them were from Dallas. And I checked the energy of Dallas, and Dallas had been hit with that wave of what I call X energy. And then when I get up to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, the energy there was 600. I'd never had a class that low before. I'd never had one at 6,000. They'd all run in the 18 to 22,000 range, and I get up there to in the New England area, and the energy is down to 600.
That is so low. My goodness.
Well, it is. The best I've ever had was Rapid City, South Dakota. It was 25,000.
And that's where we all should be, up at that level.
See, what is happening? There's a lot of folks right now living in energetic disasters. And, again, I want to repeat, it's not your fault, folks. It just happens to be where you live at this time.
And is there any one thing that's causing these energetic disasters? Is it a combination of elements?
I can't answer that question. I simply don't know what's causing it. I don't know where it came from. I do know that it moves, and it might move into an area for a while and stay and then leave. I have found that happen. A real estate company that I work with contacted me one day and said, this is the worst day of our life. We lost 4 house sales today. I checked the energy of the place, and it had dropped like a rock. I mean, the whole town. The mental stability of the citizens went from 70% to 20% overnight. And
like you're saying, you don't know what's causing this, but it is happening.
See, how I learn about this stuff is simply working with people. I mean, I don't read books on it or anything like that. I just find it by observing what's happening to people.
Well, it certainly
some
brought
of it I can explain, some of it I can't.
Sure, because it's brought you into some uncharted territory here, where you're sensing and seeing the effects of an energy system on people, and it's pretty devastating.
Well, it is. And if you're trying to do business with people and their mental stability is 10%, you got a problem.
Oh, yeah. You got a big problem. That's
well,
not a
the
small
good
problem.
news is all this stuff can be corrected, but you got to know about it. You can't fix it if you don't know about it. But that's what I teach people is how to correct this kind of stuff. Now, I do that in the classes. Now, I think maybe this last time I did put that in a film, because we refilmed their DVDs. They were about 8 years old, and a lot of things had changed. They needed upgrading, so we got new films out now. And probably a good time to give a website again.
Yes, please. Go ahead and give all your websites to everybody. Go ahead.
In case we got late listeners here. My name is spelled RAYMON, no D on it, GRACE. And our commercial site is RaymondGrace.us. Our information site, if you just want to learn about this stuff, is RaymondGraceProjects.com. And that's where there's a free video for balancing your brain. And the other one is RaymondGraceFoundation.org. And by clicking on what we do, that is the video we made called Blueprint for Freedom, and we made it to stop or at least reduce abuse on women and kids.
And those videos are great. I saw them today. They're excellent.
Yeah, and also, folks, you can use the same film to clean up schools. I made one especially for that. It's called Change Energy, Change Your Life. But the Blueprint for Freedom could be used for that, at least to a degree, of stopping bullies in school and making things more peaceful. Matter of fact, I was working with a school principal, and he wanted to remain anonymous because I actually used his story in one of my newsletters. And in 2010, they kept very close records of this. They had over 1,200 of what they call referrals. Back when I was a kid, we called it getting sent to the office.
Oh.
And this fellow was in class and wanted to know if I would help him with the school, because he had a school with nothing but really troubled kids in it anyway. They were tomorrow's jailbirds, and he was really trying to help them out. So we cleaned up the school and the kids and everything. Now, remember, 2010 they had over 1,200 referrals. In 2011, they had less than 200.
That's tremendous. That's
what happens when you change energy.
That is the power of it. And again, with the power of your intent and what you're able to teach people how to do, we could make a big difference. All of us can, listening here
Well,
tonight.
we can. If we can ever reach the 100th monkey out there, we can change the world.
That's right.
We may have a few monkeys to go yet to get to that 100th one, but, we're gaining on it. And everybody can contribute something to making their life better. My job is to teach people it's possible, because if people don't know something's possible, then they're not going to make an effort to do it, or most of them wouldn't. Now, I did. That's how I found out it was possible.
Well, see, again, it goes back to the quote from the chief, to stop giving your power away to other people, other institutions. Look
right.
for it within. And as you said, you're not looking for followers. You're not a guru. You're looking to teach people how to empower themselves. Because we've kind of lost our way here. We've been brainwashed. We've been told we have to follow a set of rules. As you mentioned earlier in the show, we have to ask for permission. All of these things that basically take us off track. So your system of using the pendulum, looking within, using intent, is more of the correct way to work with your own energy system and make a positive change, not just for you but for everybody. It's a great system.
Yeah, we really have the potential power to create a paradise. We really do.
And that's all positive stuff. It's all good news.
Yeah, but we got to do something about it. We can't just sit and wish for it. It ain't going to happen. You got to do something.
That's right. Now, let me ask you, let's say somebody wants a session with you. Can they reach you through your website?
That would probably be the best way to do it, I guess. And I do sessions when there is time. Right now it's spring, and it's time to plant. I've been planting trees and blueberry bushes this week, and I've got kind of a small farm here, so sometimes I'm just not able to keep up with the demand. But if they write, keep it short, blunt, to the point of how you hope I can help you, and tell me who you are and put your phone number in. And when I have time, if I have time, and it sounds reasonable that I can help you, I do my best to answer everybody. No, let me take that back. I answer the intelligent emails.
Okay.
If somebody says, cure my arthritis, thanks, Joe, it gets a delete button.
Right. So you want a little bit more information that's pertinent, and that makes sense. So
if it's written sensibly and polite, I will respond. If it isn't, I won't. It's that simple.
That makes sense. Now, you also you travel, and you teach. So if somebody wanted to bring you to their area, they could also arrange for a workshop, cover your expenses, and whatever else you charge.
No? Well, actually, I kind of cut things down this year. This is the first spring in over 15 years I've been able to spend at home.
Oh, my goodness.
And
okay.
I just decided I'm not going out as many places this year. So if it was within I live in Southwest Virginia, and if it was within 500 miles, I would consider it. But if it goes out too awfully far, I probably wouldn't, because I've already got about all I can handle. I might take another one or so. My schedule is on my website at RaymondGrace.us.
Okay, good. So if somebody is able to attend one of your workshops, they would find it there on your website, and they could sign up and have a personal...
And we're doing webinars also. We've done a couple so far. The first one, we limited it to 100 people, and we filled it up just immediately, and we had 15 countries represented. And the webinar has several advantages. One is you don't have to spend any money traveling, because people spend more money traveling than what they ever paid me for a class.
Right.
Second, in class you get to ask some questions. As long as we've got the time, I try to be polite and helpful and give people decent answers to their questions. But in the webinar, I condensed it. I didn't film anything. It's not a live webinar. I've already had it filmed and edited in order to condense it. I didn't film break time and lunch time. The only time we filmed was when I was giving information and the cameras were on and the microphone and everything. So we cut it down to about 9 hours. And we leave it up for 60 hours. At least that's what we've been doing. And that gives people opportunity to watch it at least twice. If they don't understand something, they can back it up and listen to it or watch it again. So it's very economical, and it brings it right to your living room. So it really did it for people. We did it for people on the West Coast and for people in Australia and Asia and Europe, because I've had people fly in here from all those countries, and they spend a lot of money on plane fare and accommodations, and that always kind of bothered me. They spent maybe $2,000 or $3,000 just for 2 days of my time with them, and I'm thinking I got to try to find a way to give these people a better deal, and I found it. Now I may have cut out some of the stories in the webinar just to condense it, but still get all the basic information is there.
I think it's great. It's a wonderful way to teach people what you have to offer. And
we want to make it as economical with
they
people
can learn
as we can,
from
still
the
make a
comfort
living
of their
at
own
it.
home. That's great. And so this can be found on which website, Raymond?
I don't even know. Go to RaymondGrace.us, and I think most of it is there.
Okay.
I hardly ever look at my website. Somebody else runs it for me.
Well, this is just wonderful. I mean, we're learning so much from you, and you're just delightful, absolutely delightful to talk to. Have you ever worked with a group where you end up healing the whole group, where you clear all the energy in that group? And I do
it in every group.
You do it in every group?
Yes, ma'am. See, folks are always wanting, when they show up at class, we need a little private time with you. Well, folks, there's just not time for it. Mm-hmm. So what I do, I tell everybody, take a project, whatever is the most important to you, whether it's your immediate home and family, whether it's your job, where your kid goes to school, whatever it is, and you focus on this. And we're going to go through the list. We're going to spend about 6 intensive hours going through this. I'll give you stories, practical applications, explain it to you, answer your questions for you, do everything I can for you, but you get involved here yourself. And we're going to do a mass clearing for all of your projects. So that's just what I do for people, because there's not enough time to talk to them one at a time. So it's just the best deal I can offer them.
Right. So if somebody does one of your webinars, for example, that would give them that kind of a clearing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's just I try my best to give people all the information I can possibly cram in, along with the understanding of how to use it. Because what I want people to do is go out and put this stuff to work and help somebody else.
Right, pay it forward. That's very nice. I mean, that is the way it should be done. Now, is there anything else that you find when you go to clear? We talked about curses. We've talked about a vortex you found on the land that you reprogrammed, bad thought forms that have attached themselves. What other is there anything else? I mean, other things that you find?
Well,
like
one
what?
is if folks live in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Ontario, these folks got a lot of problems with AC current. It's a geographical thing. Folks in the southeast don't have that problem any. People around the coastal areas, I found it a while ago in a clinic in Virginia Beach. It was sonar was affecting the people.
Oh my!
So that's part of it. Let's see. Well, the entities, which they may or may not be, the most common thing is what we call the negative energetic patterns. It's the things that happen on the land, or the thoughts of people. For example, I have found that the attitude of a landowner can affect the quality of the water.
Oh, my goodness. And the attitude being if they're a miserable person, if they're negative, it'll bring the water quality down.
The hot spring I was telling you about earlier out in California, that was a two-part story, and I only told one part of it. The other part was the well went dry on the land. And when the man contacted me, he said, it cost a lot of money out here to drill a well. I said, what happened on your land 3 years ago? He said, well, I've got an old house out there in the desert that I rented to somebody. I said, they're a trashy bunch, ain't they? He said, well, yeah, they are. I said, I think you better get rid of them. I said, those people are so bad that they don't have to do a ritual or a ceremony. Just the fact they set foot on the land caused the well to go dry.
Oh, my goodness.
That's kind of unusual, but I said, I'll clean them up for you the best I can, but I think you better get them people off your property. And he goes down there a few days later, and he said they've cleaned up all the junk. I just depossessed them. And sure enough, the water came back in the well.
Oh, my goodness. These are just
that was
miraculous.
An unusual case, but then but it did happen.
Wow. Now, what about places? I know that there's places on the planet that seem to have more paranormal activity than others. Like there's been a lot talked about with Skinwalker Ranch and other places like that. I mean, what's your thought on that? Is that all vortex stuff?
Well, I don't know about that ranch. I'm not familiar with that. But what I have found is that, yes, there are some places that seem to be pure evil. And I probably shouldn't give out the locations here on the air, but I found a place last summer, the most evil spot on earth. And people all over the whole area were having problems. I don't know exactly what caused it, but I can tell you what I think caused a lot of it is demonic worship.
Oh, no. Okay.
That can really open up some stuff from the other realms to come in, and when that happens, it just gets bad for everybody that lives there.
And this place you found right here in the United States?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. Now, somebody just wrote in the chat room. They have a question. They want to know what issues you have found in Texas.
What issues? Oh, well, what I mentioned a while ago, that what I call X energy, that low energy, had hit Dallas, but it's also hit Houston, and I did find it in Austin. So it seems to hit the larger population centers, because I have friends in all of these cities in Texas. I have a lot of friends down in Texas. So it just hit the bigger cities down there, and it could have hit some of the smaller towns. I'm not really couldn't draw a line as to where it is and where it isn't, but the cities I mentioned there, yes, it hit at various times. And the people I know down there, I just tell them what they can do about it, and or I send them to that archive newsletter of September 2013, where I wrote very briefly, blunt to the point, folks, this is what's happening, this is what you do to stop it, and your life will be a whole lot better off if you pay attention here and put it to use. So,
well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like we all need these ways to defend ourselves from this, because it sounds like a totally depleting energy and
well,
quite dangerous.
Is. Because I have seen the energy of an entire town drop from 20,000 to 150 overnight.
Gosh, what in the world?
I mean, I just give you those numbers
for
a point of reference as to how serious it gets.
Now,
and I'll tell you what happened when I first discovered it.
Okay.
The first day I discovered it, and I've got a good psychic friend down in Atlanta. And she called and said, something doesn't feel right here. And I said, well, no wonder the energy looks like a bottom dropped out of the energy. At that time, I didn't really know what was causing it. And I said, let me see if I can just neutralize the negative effect of whatever this is on you. But I was kind of shooting in the dark. And she's a very sensitive girl. She said, oh, I felt that. And I said, well, let me go ahead and clean your family up here then. And about that time, my brother called. He's a photographer for a newspaper in East Tennessee. He said, we've got something going on down here. He said, we had a murder-suicide here last night, and we've had 3 suicide attempts in the last 25 minutes.
Oh, my goodness.
I said, well, we've got a problem there. The energy in that little town, I'd kept an eye on it. It had usually ranged around 22,000. It was 150. Oof. Well, that day, I remember, if I remember correctly, it was on the 5th of December, 2012, and in the next few hours, I cleared 7 places, all the way up the East Coast into Toronto and up the coast of Southern California. I had an intelligent person on the phone each time that was calling saying something is going wrong. And I was able to make some changes, not for the whole town now by any means, but just for the person themselves, and every one of them could feel it. And I'm thinking, well, we've got something here. I just don't know what it is.
Right.
And then I kept getting more and more calls. It's like people were just getting depressed. It felt like they were going loco. They didn't know what was going on. They just knew something wasn't right. So I've really done my best to educate people to this. And that's why I put it in our newsletter. And I thought, well, let's at least put it out there. And anybody that wants a free newsletter, just go there to our website and sign up for it. No obligation. If you decide you don't like what I say, then you can cancel it out.
So let's talk about your websites again, because I want everybody to, you have several, and I want people to be able to visit all of them. So you have Raymond with no D, Grace.us. That's one of them. And then what are the other 2?
The other one is RaymondGraceProjects.com. That's mostly just for information. And then the RaymondGraceFoundation.org. That shows some of the projects that we have. One of our projects early on was to show people in the world how they could clean up water to have better quality drinking water. And then the other main project is to stop abuse on women and kids. And then we've got some minor projects. We are funding a seed saver program at the local county library for people. We buy seeds, heirloom seeds, give them to people, have classes on how to grow the plants, how to save the seed, then have them bring back some the next year. And we're providing heirloom seed for people that way, so they don't have to use the GMO seed if they don't want to.
That's nice.
And these are for just people who want it for their own gardens. And then we have next week we have a river cleanup where there'll be volunteers from a local college and picking up trash out of the river and along the sides of the riverbank for a few miles. I've been picking up trash out of that river for years, and I've found a way to get some help, so I do that. Then the sheriff's department will send a truck and trailer out to haul it off to the dump. So in the afternoon, we'll clean up probably 3 or 4 mile of river.
Wow, that's excellent.
That's one of the things, that's part of what we do. Then we've sponsored 4-H projects for kids, teaching them how to grow plants without any dirt. Pictures of all this is on that website. Pictures of our river cleanup and all that. We've got it all on there.
You're involved in so many wonderful, wonderful things. And you, Raymond, are a treasure. You really are. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be on the show tonight and speak to all of our audience members. And I know there'll be a lot of people listening to this show tomorrow when they have time, also on just on their schedule when they can, because I know they've been looking forward to hearing from you. And again, I want to announce the name of your book, which is The Future is Yours, True Stories About Dowsing, Spontaneous Healing, Ghost Busting, and the Incredible Power of the Mind. I mean, we've only scratched the surface here, and I could just talk to you all night. This is so fascinating.
Well, you've been a wonderful talk show host, and I really appreciate the invitation tonight. You've been real easy to talk to. You've asked sensible questions. You participated in the conversation. I really couldn't ask you to have done any better job, so I just really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Raymond. Well, we're going to have you back when my co-host, Becky Andreasen, is feeling better, because I know she's going to be very sad that she missed you tonight. We've been talking about you all week, and I have lots of compliments lining up about you in the chat room, saying how you're a great person. I love this guy. Bring him back. So,
well, I want to thank all you folks out there for listening tonight and for all your comments. So, and I hope I said something that you can put to use.
I know you've given us a lot tonight, and our audience is so grateful, and I'm so grateful, Raymond. God bless you, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. And again, I'll be calling you. We're going to have you back on.
Well, you drop me an email, and we'll talk about that property up there.
Oh, all right. I will do that. Again, Thank you so much.
I don't know if there's anything else to talk about, but I'm just really glad to be able to do you a favor there.
Well, you're so sweet, and believe me, I'm grateful, as we all are, for the wonderful and heartfelt work that you're doing on this planet today. Thank you so much. And everybody, have a great week. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with another terrific show. Take care.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for another radio adventure with Supernatural.